This is a male's advocate channel, meaning I advocate for men. What does that mean? Meaning I support men. That's it. Does that mean I hate women, like some women like to label me as? The answer is no. Let me make it even clearer for you ladies. If I had a business and I had a male or a female apply for the same job, who would I give it to? The one who's most qualified for the job is the answer. That means if the woman was more qualified than the man, I would give it to the woman. I don't care about what kind of genitalia they have between their legs. I don't care. I want the person that could do the job the best. That's it. My business is all I'm concerned about. Just because I advocate for one doesn't mean I don't support the other side. The idea is men don't have enough support. There has to be some sort of balance. And that, my friend, is what we are going to look at today. I'm going to continue on this whole quest on showing you ladies how unfairly men are treated. And number two, how feminism is not your friend, my dears. It has not done you well. You are all suffering under feminism, this idea of feminism. And I'm going to bring some truth and some light to this whole freaking debacle so that you ladies can wake up and realize that you have been lied to. So that's what's going to happen in this particular video, my friends. And this will probably be an ongoing thing simply because, hey, this can't be tackled in one video. But after I watched the Karen Strauss, I know I'm butchering that name. I watched her video. My eyes were opened up at a whole different level. And the thing is, right, so many of you have made it very clear that you are very familiar with this person in the comments. And I've never heard of her before, ever. I just feel like I'm the last person that knew about this woman. But anyway, she did mention this site. I thought it was a book at first, but apparently it's a YouTube video. Men, Woman, Myth. And so I decided to go and look at it, and my knowledge bank just blew up even further. And so that's what I want to show you guys today, because I want to dive deep into this whole realm of feminism. And this guy has done some serious research on this, man. So my friends, welcome to another session with the older man. Subscribe if you haven't, and by all means book a session with me if you have any issues. If you just like a guy with some common sense, or you need a father figure that you never had growing up, I'm here for you. All right, and of course join our membership site. It's growing. Come on board now, because this Saturday I am hosting a 2-hour Zoom session over there on the membership site. You can still get in now on this, so get over there, guys. You can talk to me directly. All right, Man, Woman, Myth. It's an old video.
This series of films covers essentially two subjects. It's about the whole subject of equality between men and women. And it's also about the subject of misandry, the hatred in society that I see directed towards men. I first became interested in male-female relations years ago, during Wimbledon. And also because of the classic quiz show, The Krypton Factor. I remember that women tennis players were complaining that they were being paid less than men. I thought that men play 5 sets and women play 3 sets, so surely men should get paid more. But female players argued that they were just as popular as male players, and so should get the same money. So I thought, why not reduce men's tennis to the best of 3 sets, so that it was fair, and then pay both sexes equally? But the women didn't suggest that. They just argued to be paid the same. What this showed me is that women were complaining about a situation, not really to achieve fairness, but instead to achieve a better deal for themselves. Now men and women do get the same prize money at Wimbledon. This was $700,000 in 2007. Equality has finally caught up with the home of British tennis, was the way one news source put it. But if this is equality, why do men have to work harder for the same reward? Why is it okay to discriminate against men in the amount of work they must do, but not okay to discriminate in their favour in the amount that they're paid? In the Krypton Factor, men and women competed head-to-head in mental and physical challenges. But in the main physical event, the assault course, the women received a 45-second head start over the men, and if they crossed the line first, they were called the winners. Even at age 9 watching this, I just couldn't understand the logic. How could a man be beaten by a woman who hadn't done as well? If women couldn't compete fairly with men, why were they competing at all? This was an eye-opener for me, and I've been especially interested in male-female relations ever since. It was only in 2002 that I decided to make these films as an attempt to catalogue and explain some of what I see going on around me in society. All across television, radio, newspapers, the internet, and in government policy, I see very clear discrimination against men on an almost continual basis. Men are presented as plain bad. Men are portrayed as evil, criminal, and abusive, or else pathetic and unnecessary. Men seem to be under sustained attack in the media. I'm a man, and I don't recognise myself in any of these portrayals. I also don't recognise my friends or family. I've looked extensively into the reasons behind this depiction of men, and it's led me to a number of conclusions about just what's going on in our society today. These conclusions are addressed in the other films in this series. But the root cause of the situation rests with feminism. Attacking men with feminism has served a purpose for government, business, charities and other agencies. The attack on men has helped these people to make money and gain power in our society. Feminism has enabled men to be oppressed, it's enabled families to be broken up, and it's enabled women to be put to work. For decades, feminism has been dressed up as being about equality and liberation for women. In reality, feminism has nothing to do with women. Its true purpose has always been about enslaving us all. These films will explore some of the issues surrounding feminism. These include domestic violence, child abuse, fatherlessness, equality, health and education. I'll look at these issues, and I hope to show you something of an alternative view to the mainstream depiction you'll get on television.
There you go, my friends. That is the intro, the first video that this gentleman ever created. And this was done in 2002. That's 22 years ago, man. 22 years ago. And the thing is, for my American friends, you think that feminism started in America under the suffragettes? No, my friend. This thing started way before that. You got to go back to the motherland, UK, my friends. This whole thing started way before. The virus started somewhere else. And that's what I'm going to show you in this gentleman's films. So listen, hold on to your hats, my friend. Your eyes are going to be open wide with this idea. You guys are going to learn a lot from these videos. All right, let's go to another film that he did. Listen, you can even see that the quality on these were low. It's like really low res videos. Feminism Introduction. Feminism is good.
Now in general, feminism, and thereby feminists, are seen as a good thing. It's believed that feminism was created by women to free themselves from male oppression.
They say they want genuine equality with men, under the law, at home and at work.
However, my research has led me to a very different view of the origins of feminism. The true purpose of feminism is hidden in plain view and has nothing to do with men or women. Instead, it concerns hatred, money and power. I aim to show you that feminism has not liberated women from oppression. One cannot liberate a group that's already free. Instead, rather than liberate women, feminism has actually created their real oppression. Women's choices have not increased with feminism, they've reduced. Before feminism, women could choose whether to work or not. Now they increasingly have no choice. They have to work. Feminism hurts women deeply. Indeed, it was created to do so. By encouraging all women into the workforce, feminism has disrupted family life, with a resulting negative effect on children and relationships. Life has become more expensive due to feminism, with higher taxes and house prices. The pace and pressure of work has increased, and life has become more difficult for everyone. Women have gained little, if anything, from feminism, but they've lost a great deal. But, and I say this with as much respect as possible, women have been too stupid to see it. Women don't get the plot, even at this late stage in the game. They don't see what's been done to them in the name of women's liberation.
Oh man, he's hitting hard, he's hitting fast, and he's hitting hard. The only way to actually wake women's brains up, to make them understand what has happened, is ask them first about the outcome that they're currently getting or have achieved, and ask them if that is admirable or beneficial to the quality of the life that they have. Let me explain. I asked a woman this morning, are you happy commuting to work every day? You know, getting in your car, being stuck in traffic for an hour, going to work, you know, sucking down a bad breakfast because you got to get up early enough to make your kids breakfast and get them off to school and then rush to get to work on time and then put in a serious 9 to 5. And usually it's never 9 to 5. Sometimes in order for you to get ahead, you got to work 9 to 7, 9 to 8 sometimes. And your husband is picking up the kids if he gets off in time, and or you have them in daycare The young ones had to start off in daycare, and you're pretty much just hustling constantly 5-6 days a week, every single day. Or would you prefer to just have a husband that made enough money that you could sit at home, be with your kids, groom the kids the way you would like them? He pays for everything. He's doing all the hustling and the hard work, right? You taking care of the home. And you can actually do a little part-time work if you get some time here or there, make some extra cash for yourself. Which one would you prefer? And of course, she said, of course I would love the second one. Then I said to her, do you realize that that's how you had it before feminism pushed you into the workplace? And all she could do was bite her lips. But that's not, but we have rights though. No, I said you had the right to work before feminism. You did have the right to work. It's just that it wasn't necessary because most of the jobs are being done by men. And then, of course, she came up with this excuse. Oh, okay, all right, listen, I can't talk about this right now. And then she moved off. Point is, she knew she was beaten. She knew that she couldn't argue that point because I pointed out the outcome first. Gentlemen, if you started a discussion with feminism was push you guys into the workplace and, it made you guys work. No, ask her the outcome that she's getting right now, because I can tell you 99% of women don't like the work that they're doing. They're not boss bees. 99% of them are workers. And you know what happens when you're a worker? You get this. You lose your job.
I burned myself out for, and my biggest fear was getting fired. I was doing everything to avoid the exact thing that happened because I forgot that it was a transactional relationship. They didn't owe me anything beyond my pay, and I agreed to that. Yet somehow I lost sight of that along the way. They didn't say, hey, we guarantee you a job if you become an unrecognizable version of yourself and skip sleep and exercise and think about work 24/7. They didn't promise me a forever if I put work above relationships. I wasn't required to miss out on the moments that matter most in my life to secure a spot at the company. They didn't have to keep me. They never did. I was so mad, how could they have done this to me after I've done so much for them? But the joke was on me. I thought that if I gave 110% every single day of my life that they should too, but that just was never a part of the agreement. Are you losing yourself to a job that'll never give you half the amount that you're giving them? Because that sounds like a...
That's the problem. That's the big problem. Women are now discovering that they've been duped. They've been duped. Every woman today, every modern woman would love to boast to the fact that I was capable of capturing a man with all this that could pay all of my bills. I can get a high-value man. Look at me. Every one of them boasts. I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean. Yeah. But no, you can't boast about that anymore because we are in an environment where two people have to work. Let's go back to the video because it gets better, my friends. What is feminism?
Feminism is understood by most people to be about equality between men and women. It denotes the ongoing struggle of women to be treated the same as men and to have all the opportunities and rights that men have. But feminism is not about equality and never has been. In fact, feminism by definition cannot be about equality between men and women because, as we'll see in the equality films, it's impossible to equate entities that are so different. Feminism actually has three main objectives, none of which are positive for women. The deconstruction of family, putting women to work, stripping men of their civil rights. Feminism at its heart is an enormous, orchestrated and sustained attack on men and women, perpetrated by business and government, using the psychology of women to achieve its ends. The methodology used to deliver this attack is almost entirely based on destroying men and the very idea of manhood. By attacking men, the natural cohesion of family is disrupted.
All of these are sexual accusations, every single one of them. We have been programmed as a society to see men as a sexual predator, even though all the results that we're seeing now that more and more women are in charge of kids in schools, we're seeing a lot more cases of women actually being pedophiles to boys. Seeing many cases. You don't see it in the mainstream media, but I can show you tons and tons of information on this, where women are being arrested in more numbers than you can imagine for sexual deviance towards kids, young boys. But we don't see these things. But every single one of these, pedophilia, molestation, every single thing is geared towards men. I'm not saying that there's not men that do it, but not in the large scale amount that it's perpetrated on TV. And guess what? If you ever want to bring a powerful person down, what is the one thing that you can get away with of convincing an entire nation that the person should be brought down? A sexual accusation. Every single powerful man that you want to bring down, that's what you have to do. Andrew Tate, P. Diddy, Harvey Weinstein, every single one. Right now, it's, Mohammed Al-Fayed, the guy that was involved with the whole Princess Diana issue. That's going on right now. Every single one of these cases, if you want to destroy a man, you just have to come up with a sexual excuse. Every single man, any politician, any priest, the first thing they're going to bring up that cannot be refuted, right? Because it's a he, she thing. Every single time you want to bring down a powerful man, that's all you have to do. That's all the media has to come up with. Some sort of sexual deviance. Any powerful man, whether you are a billionaire or a freaking janitor, that's it. Sex is involved. Has to be with a minor or a woman who did not give consent. Or if she did give consent at the time, she could retroactively withdraw consent and you're still going down, my friends. Look at the P. Diddy thing. We don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But what was the difference between freak parties at P. Diddy's versus, the grotto over at the Playboy Mansion? There was no difference. None. There was some freaky shit going on over at the sex grotto over at the Playboy Mansion every single night. Guys, you gotta wake up and look and see what's going on in this world, man. The manipulation is unreal. Anyway, let's keep going.
The protection of men over women and children is removed, and women are thereby left exposed to various forms of exploitation by agencies that have no interest in their welfare or the welfare of their children. Feminism is something of a masterpiece of social engineering. It's clever, it's insidious, it's popular, and it's been going on since the Second World War, with no real signs of slowing down. But I'm getting ahead of myself. According to feminists, throughout history, women have sure had it rough. They've had to endure the same hardships as men across the ages, with the additional burdens of childbirth, raising families, and enduring brutal treatment at the hands of men. Men used to treat women like property, with full rights to beat them and control their every move.
I just don't think I could bear to be a married woman and give up all my assets to a man who was legally allowed to beat me and rape me and whom I couldn't divorce.
Let me read this to you. It has never been legal for husbands to beat or rape their wives. Never. The very idea that men could ever want to be like this makes this myth a hate crime against men.
Men dominated women's lives from early childhood and didn't allow them to gain an education or join the workforce or make free choices with their lives. The oppression of women still occurs today, especially in the Middle East and third world countries.
They're a reaction against the traditional role expected of women there.
And these are the gloves that Iranian women have to wear.
So this is kind of about expressing yourself through something which is supposed to suppress you as an individual.
Exactly. As a young boy, he was sent off to fight in the Iran-Iraq war, as so many of these young boys were. So he survived the war, but obviously it completely scarred him.
Would you rather be expected to dress in black or expected to fight and die? Which one would you prefer, my friends? Yes. When given those two options, you see the problem we have, my friend? I know which one you'd take. But of course, the women were suppressed. Is real oppression in Iran really about women's clothing? Is it? The Enlightenment.
In 1961, middle-class women suddenly realised that they'd been oppressed and enslaved by men for countless thousands of years, and decided that they must do something about it.
Middle-class women, not lower class, where most people were. These were women who didn't have to work.
These women examined every aspect of their lives and decided that everything bad that happened to them, and indeed everything bad in the world, was the fault of men. Women were good and men were bad. It was that simple. The idea of female superiority really took off with women for a number of reasons. First, like the greatest magic tricks, it wasn't new. Feminism is based largely on the philosophy and politics of Karl Marx. Put simply, Marxism says that all of the troubles affecting one group of people can be explained by the actions of another group. Marxism has been an extremely popular political system around the world because it caters to a very basic flaw in human nature, the desire to blame others for one's troubles. Feminism exists, indeed can only exist, by blaming men for a multitude of crimes. Feminism told women that men were the cause of all of the troubles they faced in life, and women liked that. Second, people really like the idea of being better than other people. Feminism basically flattered women, and women have swallowed it all, right down to the last drop. Feminism told women that they were naturally good, whereas men were naturally bad. The only reason that men ruled the world was that they used their brutality and evil cunning to keep women down. Women really liked that. Third, people really liked the idea of being free and having no obligations. Feminism told women that they needed to break free from the shackles of oppression that men had imposed on them and do whatever they wanted to do. They didn't need to be mothers or girlfriends or wives. They should not be kept by any man. Women should shake off the shallow roles in life that men had forced upon them. Women should have every choice in how they lived their lives, just as men did. Women positively wet themselves over that. Women thought about all of this. Women met for coffee while their husbands were at work and had passionate discussions about how bad life was for them, and worse, how boring it was. Women then took to the streets and demonstrated about the oppression they faced. Women demanded that all of this change, so that women could at last be free. Well, that's the view many women have of the start of feminism, but this is entirely wrong.
This guy is really breaking it down, man. Ooh.
Saying that women created feminism is like saying that pigs created the bacon industry. Feminism is not beneficial to women, it's a weapon used against women. The foundations of feminism are not built on years of oppression and abuse and the determination of women to be free. They're built on a gigantic fraud.
The battle of the sexes. In this timeless struggle for supremacy between man and woman...
In the battle of the sexes, there was never meant to be a winner, only two losers.
Feminism is a device to manipulate women, and it's not primarily concerned with men except to use men as a tool, as someone to blame, as the other, the equivalent of a big bad bogeyman. Women like to think that feminism was started by brave, inspirational women marching through the streets. But feminism didn't begin there. It began here. And although it might appear that feminism started in the 1960s, as we'll see, feminism actually started 20 years before this. What was happening in the 1960s was not the start of feminism, but rather the start of a version of feminism that was solely concerned with abusing men. The originators of this male hatred, this misandry, were able to leverage the power of feminism for what is effectively a parallel campaign of hatred against men. This male hatred, sometimes called radical feminism, has become wrapped up in the original form of feminism and is now indistinguishable from it. The women originally behind this type of feminism were mostly lesbians who simply hated men.
They were burning their bras and doing all sorts of silly things, making fools of themselves, and they were a joke.
Very, very strong feminists. I've always considered myself a feminist, but boy, they've got me beat all hollow. They are feminists on the extreme, i.e., let's just do away with men and have sperm banks. It was that sort of thing.
The radical feminist movement didn't believe in any deodorants. I mean, it was just very fascist. Any deodorants, any makeup, any clothes. I mean, everybody wore boiler suits and mouse suits and looked dank and depressing.
The women's movement is led by women who aren't really, I would say they're dysfunctional women, the leaders of the women's movement. If you look at their histories, if you look at their backgrounds, there is significant evidence of failed relationships, of promiscuous behaviour, of lack of concern for others, and or of some other troublesome period in their history. I don't think they're normal women. And many of them are lesbian, which when this is pointed out, many people often think, well, there's nothing wrong with being lesbian. And I'm not suggesting 1 minute that there is, but if you look at the lesbian women who are involved in the women's movement, you will see that they're a very particular kind of lesbian, and they tend to be the butch, men-hating type.
Indeed, some feminists simply want to do away with men.
It is now technologically feasible to reproduce without the aid of males and to produce only females. We must begin immediately to do so. Holy crap. Valerie Solanas. Yes, wow. Talking about misandry. Ladies, you don't understand where the seeds came from. Wow.
Regarding the feminist movement, what does the slogan, "Make the personal political," mean?
To me, that I always hated that slogan. What it really means is you take your personal damage. And one of the things that's very obvious in those very early days of the women's movement, how many of the radical women leaders of the movement themselves had really disturbed backgrounds and were very, very violent. And then you make that political. So if my dad's a shit, all men are shits. If you say that, you can do almost anything you like. You could go from the personal and make it political. So what happened is a sufficient group of women got together to complain bitterly, because you have to remember the beginning of the feminist movement was a Marxist movement. It was women in the left of the politics in Britain who decided that they had had enough of working with men on the left and were going to have their own, in quotes, movement. So our feminist movement never grew from a grassroots of the working class women that they were always talking about. There weren't any working class women. It was actually academics, university lecturers, young women students was the beginning of the women's movement. Over the 12 years that I was running the refuge, if I went to speak, there was screaming feminists outside. I tried to publish a book called Prone to Violence. We finally did get it published, but I had to have a police escort all around England, and there were death threats and bomb threats. And the final moment came for me after struggling for all those years, when the bomb disposal unit came to my house, because there was a suspect package, and said everything that came to me had to go to them first, because they were concerned about my safety and the safety of my family. And that's when I left England and went into exile for something like 15 years.
And this is another woman, okay? This is another woman. Yeah. Man, it's insane. The thing is, a lot of modern women think that this is just something that all just depressed and underprivileged women, the women who were downtrodden, this is where feminism came from. No, my friends. This is a serious manufactured problem. You got to see the seeds. You got to understand where it came from. And now you'll understand why you're here. Why we are now in this position as a society fighting for the survival of the human race.
Women be drafted. This is in efforts to figure out if you guys are feminist or not. Should women be drafted in the military?
Mm-hmm. Like, by drafted, do you mean like when you turn 18, like you're automatically
Okay, yeah,
drafted?
so men have to register for the Selective Service. Currently, there's not a draft in the United States, but all men in the United States at 18, in order to be able to vote and have other benefits, they have to register for the Selective Service, which would then make them subject to military conscription in the case that there was a military conflict which required a draft. So do you think women should be subject to Selective Service draft? Forced?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay.
I wouldn't even trust women to like fight for our country unless that's like that's their thing. You know, like if you're like that type of woman that you feel like you're stronger and stuff like that. But I just feel like no.
Okay. What do you think?
Well, hold on. So you think they should be drafted based on how they feel?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying if, like, willingly, if you just want to.
She's saying if they want to volunteer.
No, just really want to volunteer. Yeah, yeah.
If they want to volunteer, yes.
Yeah, but then, this defeats the purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, that's what we currently have.
Yeah, but I guess we should be drafted because I mean.
Okay. All right.
I mean, plenty of men don't want to join.
Yeah, she can't say anything else because she knows she would have been defeated because it wouldn't be equal. So the feminists will try to push back so hard. It's insane. Today's modern feminists have no clue where the roots of this problem came from.
No? Okay.
No, women should not be drafted.
Should not be drafted?
No.
But they should be paid equally in sporting events?
No comment.
Okay.
No.
They shouldn't be drafted?
I don't think so.
Well, hold on.
Okay, so everybody except Anza said women shouldn't be drafted. But y'all want to be equal? So wait a sec. How are you equal if the men are the ones that have to fight and die to defend the country? The men are the ones that build and maintain all the infrastructure, right? Like none of this stuff in the studio is built or maintained by women. Do you know that like 90% of infrastructure jobs are still held by men? And that if you look at the top 20 jobs held by women now, in 2024 versus 1924 are almost the exact same. So women have had 100 years to do whatever they want, and they still do the same 20 jobs they did 100 years ago, other than we switched out farm labor for HR work. But other than that, we're secretaries, nurses, daycare ladies, early childhood education, administrative assistants, retail workers, all the same shit that we were a century ago. So if the men are the ones tasked with every time there's a natural disaster, they have to go out and rescue people from the fires and the floodwaters, and every time there's a war, the men have to go and fight it and defend the country, and anytime there's a criminal who needs to be violently arrested, it's going to be a man who goes and does that, not a woman. Where does the equality come in?
Yeah, we want to know that too as men. We want to know where the bloody equality is. This is the reality of it. Women have been lied to so bad, it's not funny. And let me try to explain the biggest lie. It was technically, like this gentleman says, to get as many workers into the workplace. No woman really wants to work, not in today's environment. In today's world, we're seeing it more and more. Women are tired. The other big issue is that so many women have fallen prey to this BS that they're now realizing that putting all the effort into our job has made them vulnerable to that job. So they're heavily in debt, and the second they lose a job, they're screwed. They're screwed, my friends. Whereas if they had just settled down with a man, they would have been a lot better off. But no, I'm focusing on my career, I'm focusing on my education, and I can't deal with men right now. Instead of finding a good man you could work with so that when you lose your job, you're not in your car crying like this poor soul right here.
It's all a scam because as soon as you don't serve your employer anymore, as soon as you don't meet the bottom line, they will let you go in a heartbeat. You're replaceable.
My point exactly.
You're 100% replaceable, yet they want you to act like your job is the end-all be-all of your whole entire life. You spend more hours in an office than you do at home with your family. The whole system is a scam. Trading your time for money is a scam.
Hi guys. I just got let go from my job. I wasn't expecting that this morning. So I'll be fine. I worked for Midday Squares in marketing. They had to let go of the marketing division, which is fine. It just came as a bit of a shock. I'm a strong believer that everything happens for a reason. Able to maybe make more TikToks and create more content for you guys. Oh, I'm gonna miss it. I'm really gonna miss it. It was amazing. And I've learned so much in the past 8 months. I'm still in the parking lot. I haven't moved because I actually don't know how I'm gonna drive home. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys and just be really real.
Yeah, she's trying to put on a brave face, but that hurts because she got that rent to pay. She got that car note to pay, that insurance to pay. She got food. She got everything to freaking pay. The rent has to be paid or a mortgage. And that's what women got to understand about the seriousness of not having a man by her side that can say, hey, babes, listen, don't worry. Half of our income is gone. At least we still got a roof over our head. I'm still paying the rent. Okay, I can handle the car note for the next couple of months until we get another job. Instead of that car note falling 2-3 months behind, then all of a sudden the tow truck comes in. Tow truck takes your car. Now you don't have a car to get to any new job or to any interviews. You see how this shit works? You've been lied to. Oh, my education is much more important so that I can get a good job. No, it isn't. Find a damn good man first. You don't get it. Hey, here, I had to break this down to a lady yesterday. I said to her, here's the big problem about women entering the workplace and how you all fought for this shit. Imagine there's a company with 100 jobs, right? And each of those jobs are paying you $200, paying everybody $200. And all men are going there. Those men are getting $200. And that $200 is enough to provide for a family of 2 and a wife sitting at home. $200, okay? Now hold that in your head. Wife gets to stay at home, takes care of the kids. She don't have to worry about commuting. And she could also make a little side hustle while she's at home if she got some time. Because in today's modern environment, hey, you know what? You got machines that doing most of the work these days. She dropped the kid off to preschool. She got the rest of the day to, do a little side hustle online. Cool? Done. But the $200 is enough. But you go, no, I want a job. Oh, because I'm a woman and I deserve a job. Okay, so guess what? You know that company that was paying $200 to the men? You have now entered the workplace. The company says, oh, look, there's a lot of workers in the workplace right now. You know what? I don't have to pay freaking $200. I can pay $150 because I got a massive supply of workers here. I can pay $150 per person. And you know what? I can hire 2 and I can make more profit. I can even expand. I can hire 2 of these people and I only have to pay them $150. Now that man that has to freaking take care of his family with $200, he's now taking home $150. He can't support his family on $150. So now wifey now, she got to go to work. So now she's now forced into the workplace as well, making $150. But guess what? She now has to take the kids to daycare, which takes up $100 out of her pocket every month. Now she needs another car because she's commuting more than her husband. Before she used to drop her husband off to work. Now they need 2 cars because they have jobs in different directions. You see what happens? Now the poor family is just barely getting by. Before they were fine with 200. Now they need 400. And if one of these people lose their jobs, that's it. The whole family collapses. You guys got to understand how this shit has screwed all of us up. If women were not in the workplace, then companies would realize, okay, we need to pay these men more because they need to take care of the family and there's not a lot of workers here. Done. Woman could stay home, take care of the kids, and everything would have been great. So that system that the gentleman described, corporations, governments, because governments are going to get more tax with 2 people in the workplace. More workers, more taxation. My friends, you got to understand how deep the rabbit hole goes. You got to understand this. The best you can do, here's the solution at the end of this video. Find a man, work with him, build a family together. Keep your expenses low. Live below your means. Save as much money and invest as much money as you possibly can so that both of you can retire in peace and harmony. That's all you can do. But work with a man, ladies. That's the only solution for you. Otherwise, you're going to be crying in your car because you married your job. You'll be screwed. I can assure you that. Your job will fire you faster than a man will leave you. Men don't leave. All right, my friends, listen. This was a little long, but hey, I hope you learn a lot from this because this is important for you guys to understand, man. This is the kind of things that you guys have to understand about life so that you can move forward into a better life. All right? So subscribe if you haven't already. Book a session with me if you have any problems at all. And of course, join the membership system. So until next time, my friends, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. I'll see you soon. Cheers.